Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Television, Radio, and Podcast Talk Show. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning 2 p.m. on the Eastern Time Zone, as I get right on with you in the afternoon. It's always so much fun. You can find us on television, Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Another way you can find us is we're back in Alabama again with another television station. They are close to the Huntsville, Alabama area, and they are an absolute wonderful. They are our channel 182, and that's on Charter Communications Spectrum as well. You can find us on the podcast at thenewscasters.com. We're about to bring something else to you as well. I'll make that announcement coming up next week. So just another broad audience for you so we can service you. And that's what we would like to do. You can find us on the radio, WZLA, the biggest country station in South Carolina. We're glad to be part of that, and continue sending email, Donna@donnasedge.com, Donna@donnasedge.com. I have a very special friend with me right now. I'm going to put his name up there. I just happened to look, and on the bottom I see, Peter, you didn't have your name up there. So
there it is.
There we are. Peter Young is with me right now, and thank you for being such a friend. And you have really helped a lot of folks out, including me, because sometimes you go through little situations in life, but you have some, let me go ahead and put the notes up here. So there are some questions that some folks around the country have asked you about the cult. And a lot of these you've answered before, but we've got a lot of new viewers because we're stretching out to more folks that well. So a few people ask this particular question, and I want you to talk about your books a little bit later in the show, but why are intelligent and successful people sometimes drawn into cults? That's a good question.
That's a great question. I think probably the best way to answer it is that everybody can get drawn into a cult. Successful, unsuccessful, dumb, smart, anywhere in between. Mm-hmm. There are a million different ways and reasons why people can get sucked into a cult. And I think when you drill down into the psyche for all of us, we all want to feel like we belong to something special. And usually we make a really good choice with that, with family, with marriage, with our church, friends, etc. Oftentimes we don't. We get a little blindsided. And remember, cult leaders prey on those that are really vulnerable. And you are very vulnerable when you are isolated, when you don't have close friends and family. So then, okay, well, someone who's really successful and smart is probably not going to be really isolated. I think, well, wait a minute, in today's world of internet, of email, of Zoom and everything, it's a lot easier these days to become very isolated, spend most of your time alone. And so I would highly recommend getting out there and maintaining close relationships. That's one of the foundational lessons of my story. But again, to answer that question directly, it can happen to anybody. Anybody can get drawn into it.
Absolutely. In a number of different ways, too. So another question, too, was about social media. Do you feel like there are cult leaders out there trying to gather an audience through social media? Another good question.
Yeah, that is. I've never had that question before. My first thought would be no. Could people out there that are narcissistic, have cult-like tendencies, trying to lure people in on social media? I guess so. But with my understanding of how cult leaders operate, it's got to be in person. There's got to be a lot of one-on-one at first, and then you can get the group together once there's been undue manipulative mind control. But certainly in my case, with the way that the cult leader operated, it really has to be in person, because so much of what they do is this kind of subtle, unspoken psychological manipulation that I don't think you could really do over electronic means.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that was a good question. I thought about that too. Okay, here's another one and you just answered it. Is isolation one of the biggest tools that cults use?
Isolation, I think, is one of the biggest tools they use to control their members. So in our case, it was isolation, paranoia, and secrecy. They all kind of go in hand in glove. But clearly that speaks volumes about the cult leader and what they're doing, because if you were confident in what you were teaching and what you were doing, you wouldn't worry about being isolated. You wouldn't worry about trying to hide it. You wouldn't be paranoid. You would have nothing to fear. You would put it out there. But I think most cult leaders, maybe that's too broad of a term. I would clearly say in the case that I was in, deep down under all of these layers of scars and whatever else this person had gone through his life, they must know that, boy, this sounds a little wacky. Otherwise, why try and hide it? Why try and isolate the people in your little cult, in your little group? Why try so hard to maintain control? If what you are sharing, Donna, is really of a benefit to people, why would you need to try and control people?
Absolutely. Yeah, they would just come to you.
Yeah.
And
you wouldn't need to control them. They would want to stay of their own volition.
Well, this is going to be a Donna question. Is the way you carry yourself, if you're just down like this and people say you've got the weight of the world on your shoulders, does that attract cult leaders?
I don't know if that attracts cult leaders. That's a good question as well. It certainly attracts people with ill intent. I feel like I've seen a video or two on that, either online or on TV, about how, you kind of make yourself a target when you look like you're always kind of scared rather than standing up tall, standing up straight. I remember one of my boys going to, it was like a weekend retreat, and when he was in high school, and the leaders were kind of teaching kids how to walk down the street and not be a victim. And that's kind of what they were talking about, just what you said about how, kind of withdrawing into themselves. Again, I would say with a couple of these questions, with yours, which is very good, also the one about the social media, for me, what I think of is that, and I've told you this before, there's a difference between a true cult and a true cult leader and really unhealthy, dysfunctional culture. I think that's ubiquitous. We see that everywhere. Does that mean everybody that's got this unhealthy, dysfunctional way of living is a cult leader? Probably not.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Now, we've got a lot of family questions that have come in. And so this is a good one here. What should families do if they believe a loved one is involved in a cult?
Yeah, great question. Well, you have to take action for sure. As I have said repeatedly, no one knows they're in a cult. They only know they were in one if they're lucky enough to get out. Mm-hmm. Because cults share two things: a leader and undue manipulative mind control. So the loved one, the family member who is in it, has no idea. They think there is something better. No one ever joins a cult. They join something else in their mind. So if you are the loved one that you see it, yes, you need to take action. You need the one to initiate the conversation. Mm-hmm. Easier said than done. You always want to try and maintain the dialogue. If you come on too strong, and then that family member will just kick you out of their life. You don't want that to happen. I saw that in my situation with my in-laws' family, the kind of family that I had married into, where family members, so sister-in-law and brother-in-laws, aunts and uncles, got kicked out and shunned for decades. So it is kind of a delicate balance. It's tricky. It's not something I ever had to do. I had people trying to rescue me who saw it. My brothers and sister-in-laws and parents saw it. But you have to take action, because they never will. I mean, that's probably the biggest point. That loved one, I don't see them ever taking the first step. You've got to take that first step.
Well, everybody likes to hear good news. And everyone, like you've been mentioning, everyone wants to be part of something, and something they think is big. And a lot of it, do you feel, comes from flattery? I mean, maybe they tell you some things that you want to hear. Is that how they can drag people into a cult?
Yep. They call that love bombing. So when people come into the group or a cult, there's a lot of praise. There's a lot of love. It's a way of making that person feel obviously loved, welcomed, part of a group, part of something really special. Not as structured as an initiation, but it's in a similar vein of showing this person a lot of love, so they let their guard down, so that they feel comfortable. Because then once you feel comfortable, then you can listen to everything that the cult leader says, and you take it in hook, line, and sinker. But if you were still a little leery, you still had your guard up, certainly in my case, and then you sat down at one of our conferences and listened to quote unquote Uncle Robert, our cult leader, speak, the red flags would come up immediately. In your mind, you'd be saying, this is nuts. Mm-hmm. But if you're now relaxed and comfortable and everybody makes you feel like you're special, you're part of a group, your thought process would probably be along the lines of, I haven't heard this before. This sounds kind of weird and strange, but everybody else believes it and they love me, so let me give it some time. And that's a subtle shift, but it's enough to make a difference.
Yeah, all they need is just a few minutes of your time to get you dragging in there. And this is a good question right here. Could it be difficult or maybe life-threatening for someone to leave a controlling group?
Certainly possible. Thankfully, it wasn't in my case. I do have a friend out here in Montana that was not in a cult like mine, but it was definitely a cult. It's a well-known cult, but I'll leave it at that. And she left, and I don't know the details of it, but they went after her legally, which is the way a lot of these groups, I think, operate. They'll go after you legally in the courts if you say something. If you speak out and say, well, this person is a cult leader, this group is a cult, then they'll lawyer up and try and bankrupt you. I've seen that happen, and that is certainly a risk. And in that situation, then, Donna, you have to kind of ask yourself, is it worth it? Certainly, in my case, it was for me to stand on the truth, to know that it wasn't me, I wasn't the crazy one, and I'm not going to be silenced. And, I have been met recently with resistance. Why did you write your book? Why did you put that out there? And I felt it was important to put it out there because people like Robert Booty, the leader of our tiny little cult, operate in the shadows, operate in secrecy. They rely on their story not being told. That's how they get away with it. And I didn't want that to happen. I wanted to expose him and also, like I do now, share to where it's harder for the Robert Booties in this country to continue to operate.
Absolutely. We're about to go into a break, but let's talk about your book and how important it is and how folks can find it.
The memoir is called Stop the Tall Man, Save the Tiger. Yes, it's an interesting title. I literally, to this day, get goosebumps every time I mention it. It's about a fascinating dream my former wife had before we met, and it was turned on its head and used to manipulate and destroy my marriage and family for over 2 decades. It's an amazing story, and you can find it on Barnes & Noble or Amazon.com or my website, authorpeteryoung.com.
There you go. Can you believe half the show is already over, Peter? Let's go into a commercial break. We'll return in just a few minutes. Y'all hang in there. Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. Finding the right home isn't just about bedrooms and square footage. It's about comfort, security, and the feeling you get the moment you walk through the door. That's why so many families across Greenwood and the Lakelands area trust Jenny Ferguson with Keller Williams. And I'll tell you from personal experience, Jenny was my realtor, and she truly cares about her clients. Jenny takes the time to listen, to understand what matters most, and to guide you every step of the way, whether you're buying your first home, upgrading, or ready to sell. Because this isn't just a transaction, it's your life. With local knowledge, personal care, and a commitment to getting it right, Jenny Ferguson makes the process simple and even enjoyable. So if you're thinking about buying or selling, now's the time to make your move. Call Jenny Ferguson with Keller Williams in Greenwood today and take the next step toward a place you'll truly love coming home to. Good afternoon, Sunshine. Medical Minute brought to you by Dr. Chuck with Lakeland's Chiropractic, where an ounce of prevention is worth what? A pound of cure. So what is the Beamer? Okay, now the Beamer uses very gentle pulse to electromagnetic signals. This will stimulate healthy muscles and it supports the temporary blood flow. Now let's talk Beamer and circulation support. Now the Beamer gently supports natural circulation in healthy muscles. Now that's what I call natural health. Thank you so much for watching your Medical Minute, brought to you by Dr. Chuck. You know who he's with. He's with Lakeland's Chiropractic, where an ounce of prevention is worth what? A pound of cure. I hope you have a super duper awesome rest of the afternoon. You take care. Shine your style at Kiss My Glass right here in the Anderson Mall. There's a place where style meets sparkle. At Kiss My Glass, every piece is handcrafted, custom designed, and made to shine just like you. Owner Beth Gibson brings creativity to life with stunning custom tumblers, gifts, and one-of-a-kind pieces you won't find anywhere else. Look for the perfect gift or something uniquely you, from bold and glamorous to simple and elegant. There's something for every style, so stop by, get inspired, and leave with something unforgettable. Kiss My Glass inside the Anderson Mall, Anderson, South Carolina, where your sparkle begins. Be sure to check out Kiss My Glass on Facebook for updates and specials and gift ideas.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer
yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Good afternoon. We're back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television, radio, and podcast talk show. Thank you so much for watching. You absolutely make my day. And you also make Peter's day when you send email. Continue doing that. Donna@donnasedge.com. You've got a lot of questions right here. I like this one. And I've often thought about this question myself. Can political or self-help movements sometimes cross dangerous lines?
Well, absolutely. And I've mentioned this before. I'll go back to that book I read called Uncultured by Daniela Young. She makes the important distinction between a true cult and unhealthy, dysfunctional culture. And so I think we see a lot of unhealthy, dysfunctional culture in political parties. You can see it in marriages and families, in businesses, even in churches. There's a lot of that. I do think the idea of an actual cult is far more rare, but they are out there. But we see certainly a lot of unhealthy and dysfunctional culture. And can that cross the line? Sure. It probably crosses the lines every day. And I love these questions, Donna. If I could, I want to just kind of go back, because during the break, I was just thinking about it a bit. And I think truly the Lord was really kind of speaking to me. The question was about, when you leave a cult, when you leave that situation, is there kind of a danger involved with that? I'm paraphrasing the question. And there's a price to pay for the life we live. Christ talks about that a lot. That we have to carry our cross, pick up and carry our cross daily. That we as believers in Christ and followers of Jesus will encounter persecution and hatred. And I have found that. I have found that out in my life. And whenever you, especially, and I'll maybe step on some toes here, but especially a white Christian male in America, when you take a stand for something, people are going to attack you. And they will hate you, and they will point fingers at you. And they want people like me to be quiet, shut up, and be submissive. And that was the attitude towards me when I was in the cult. Peter, stop asking questions. Just do what you're told. Don't stand up and be a man. Don't be the father. Don't be the husband. Be the little child and listen to booty. Okay, now that was a very severe and extreme case. But I see that all the time in our country. And so really for me, it was kind of a wake-up call that I am a man that has nothing to be ashamed of. I'm not going to be quiet. I will stand up for the truth. And I'll stand up for the truth in a very loving manner. But I now know that that comes with a price. And people will, for the rest of my life, as long as I stand up for the truth, they're going to hate me. And they're going to come after me. And that's okay, because what I stand for is more important. And I will never back down from that.
I wanted to ask you a question. This was about the question that was asked about, flattery and that kind of thing. And God actually talks about that. But there's a fine line there, because I believe in giving out positive vibes to people. If somebody's hair looks good, I tell them it looks good. But I don't want to sound like I'm a flattery person trying to get somebody to do something. Right. What's the line there?
I think it's a great question. And only you know, right? Only you know what the line is, because you know why you're offering the praise and the flattery. If you're offering the praise and flattery simply because you think what that person did was great, it's a great looking dress, you look great, that was a wonderful job, great game, what a great game, touchdown, you're awesome, great job. But if you are doing it for undue manipulative purposes where you are trying to get something from that person, that's where the line is crossed. It's not so much what you said, it's why you said it.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense, because sometimes I have actually thought, maybe I don't need to say that. Maybe I sound like a cult leader. Yeah. But I think I look sincere when I say it. But anyway, and I get what you're saying. It's like the person is, if you're a cult leader, is like, what's in it for me?
Right.
What am I going to gain from it? I want to get this person into my flock.
There's always an angle. There's always a reason.
There you go.
And and if the reason is sincere and you just you're very grateful and thankful and want to uplift the other person, nothing wrong with that.
Oh, we got a bunch of questions. This is a good one. What should parents teach young people about manipulation and group pressure?
Wow,
that's
a really good question. I do think there's a bit of a fine line between, parents telling the children, trust your gut, trust your instinct, because really, the Bible kind of says the exact opposite. That our heart was to trust the Lord. The idea, like we used to tell kids, stranger danger. Well, some strangers are dangerous, but not all strangers are dangerous. Mm-hmm. Right? So your children have to, I think, have a strong foundation of certainly trusting and honoring their parents. And then that's also where the circle of friends, the church, the family, the relatives, the aunts and uncles, the cousins also come in, to where, let's say, the kids are quite often at a young age in situations where the parents don't have to worry about it, right? They don't have to worry about somebody being manipulative of their child. Mm-hmm. But okay, once they go to, let's say, junior high and high school, parents can't control every situation, nor should they have to. To me, it all comes down to being grounded in the Bible and really knowing your identity. And listen, it sounds easier. It's a lot harder than it sounds, because I didn't really learn this lesson until I was in my 40s, that my identity was truly in Christ. And then I can really relax and not try and impress people, not try and act like I'm somebody else. And whenever you have your identity in something else, there's always, maybe that's like the desire or the pressure to perform for people. And that's where I think you can really be manipulated, because then you're always seeking someone else's pleasure. Instead of those people, offering you the praise that gets you in, now you're out looking for it. You're out looking for that. And when you need something from other people, well, that's where you're vulnerable, I think.
Absolutely. And this is a good question too. So we have a question from this person who said, my son, always a fantastic guy, all the way through elementary school, high school, not ever a problem, but then he goes to college. And she feels like some of the professors there have probably been working with his head. What would you say about it? She wants to know if you think she's being paranoid.
She's not being paranoid. Yeah, there's no question about it that college campuses, are, I don't know what the percentage is, but many of them just hate the Christian worldview. Really is what it comes down to. Again, I don't mean to step on anybody's toes and get too political here, but when it comes down to communism, socialism, feminism, etc., all of these things, they're all just kind of attacks on the Christian worldview from a different angle. That's all they really are. And so when a child goes off to college, yeah, they're going to get attacked. They're going to be challenged. And it's a hard thing for parents to let go and let that child go off to college. And the best thing you do is you pray for them when they come back for spring break, Christmas break, fall break. Have really good discussions. And you just got to hope and pray that, that the child does not completely give up on what you taught them when they were living in your household. But that's the country we live in. I think most campuses, other than Liberty University and a few like that, are very antagonistic to the Christian worldview.
Oh, I think so too. They don't want these kids to succeed. A number of my friends have told me about their kids, great talents, football, whatever, but they're put aside because of their Christian views.
Once they get to the college, then the victim mentality is elevated. Everybody's a victim. What is your victim status? Well, I'm this color, I'm that color, I have this, sexual identity, whatever it is. Everybody wants to be a victim. In this country, Donna, we used to really look up to and applaud people for being successful. Great job. Wow, I want to be like that person. Now it's like, well, we can't tear people down fast enough. I just don't get it.
Well, it was when all the kids started getting a trophy, and I was a runner in school. And so I competed, and I wasn't the winner. I was the second runner up. Well, so I go home. My parents are not telling me, oh, you get a trophy. It was nothing like that. They were saying, well, then you need to do that. Especially, he said, well, that means you need to work harder next year.
Yeah.
That's what he said. There was none of this, well, you're precious, you're princess, none of that stuff. It's just try to work harder.
That's right. Yeah. So, and I love that about sports. It's just sports teaches us so many great life lessons. And, the guy in second place is the first loser. I'm not trying to be, trite or pick on people, but, we used to really celebrate excellence and victory. And now it's almost as if we are jealous. So again, if you dig down, what's the root of that trophies for everybody? Well, we don't want to just elevate the one kid that won and was best. We're kind of jealous. And so we got to make sure every kid gets a trophy. I'm like you. I don't buy that.
I don't think that works. And also for the kids who are extremely intelligent and they're ambitious, sometimes being ambitious can be better than being the smartest one, because you really are going to try harder. Yep. And so I'm seeing that door closing just a bit, where the person who really works hard and they want to be successful are kind of like, well, why should I? Everybody's going to get a trophy. Why should I work hard?
And that's certainly at the younger level. But then once you get up, let's say past high school, now you're into college or even pros, which I know was never good enough. I played in college. I wasn't very good, but I did play at the Division I level. And sports is really, and I've heard this phrase, sports is a repudiation of egalitarianism. So egalitarianism is the idea that we're all equal, right? Everybody's equal. Well, we're not. I was not blessed with LeBron James' height or athletic ability. I wish I was, because I wanted to be good at basketball. We're not all equal. We should be equal in the sight of the law, but egalitarianism tries to teach us that we should all then have equal results. And that will never be the case. And that's why sports shows it on a daily basis. The rules apply to everybody, right? In basketball, football, baseball, or any sport, we all play by the same rules, but we never have equal results because some guys are just better. And that's probably the best example of where sports teaches us how we should run our lives, rather than in the world of, well, this group doesn't have enough money, this group has more, so we're going to take from this group and give this one. You will never create equal outcomes. No, all you should be doing is having equal opportunity.
I love to cook. I'm not a certified chef or anything like that, but I promise you I can make the best cornbread in the world. You just got to find what you're good at and make it work. That's all there is to it. Peter, thank you so much for being with us. Always a pleasure. We didn't get to all the questions, but we're going to do it next time. Continue sending more questions. We love them. Donna at donnasedge.com. Donna at donnasedge.com. Thank you so much for watching. And thank you, Peter, again for being with us. Oh, real quick, find the book where?
You can find my books at authorpeteryoung.com or on Amazon or Barnes & Noble.
There you go. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.